TC, Spiritual Shepherd. Today we are getting into breaking free from the matrix. Now, I know that this is somewhat of a controversial topic, obviously. Okay, and we can also get into, even in this video and maybe other videos, what the matrix really is, okay? There is something inside of your mitochondria. There is a pigmentation and a filament. Okay, so it's fluid. It's a fluid inside that is actually called matrix. It's called the matrix. Okay, and so I want you to realize that you are inherently connected to the matrix based on DNA, based on ones and zeros, based on these types of numerical, mathematical proportions and being interconnected with nature and society. So there's that full version where we're going to get into that and the spiritual breaking free of the matrix. And then obviously the physical, if you live in the United States of America, there is obviously that whole legal fiction and, corporation and being a living man, being a living entity, being a living being. Okay, there's different things that go on with this that people do not understand. We've been lied to our whole lives. We've been lied to our whole entire lives. And the whole thing about this, guys, is that the people who do understand, the people who do know, the people who understand this knowledge, generally they're gaslit, they're gaslighted, and there's been 3 huge spiritual awakenings in my life. Obviously, I've had a few big ones, even more than just 3, but I've had 3 really okay, I'm onto something. Okay, I'm onto something. Okay, I'm onto something. I've had these come into my life, and I'm very, very grateful. It takes a lot of energy to be able to get to these points in your life, to be able to say, I've done the work. I'm rewarded for the work. I feel happy being rewarded for the work. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I've went through all that stuff. All that stuff has transformed and changed my life, etc. So I'm not going to get into all of the logistics, but I want you to just search up in YouTube legal fiction or you are the creditor, not the debtor. You are the creditor, not the debtor. You inherently, as a spiritual being, somebody who is born into the world, already has an inherent value. And you can make choices, okay? You can make choices. So you're inherently valuable. You could be the next, you could be the next Tony Robbins. You could be the next, I guess you could say Elon Musk or somebody along these lines. So you are born inherently with value and potential value, okay? And there are different things that go on with the Federal Reserve as a private business, the United States as a corporation, being a living being and not being the all caps name. So there's these types of things that we must do. Now, for me is I'm going through the process currently, and with this current process is, you won't have to pay taxes. You won't have to do a few different types of things because it's a fucking lie. It's a straight up lie. And I'm glad that I was the person within my family. I was the person to have the spiritual awakening. I was glad that I was there when my dog died because I felt like I was strong enough to be there. I'm grateful that I've learned these types of things. I'm grateful that I have been the researcher of the family, where I am very good with my spiritual discernment. Very, very clear and discerning with my spirit and what my spirit chooses to go around. And I know how to discern between what is good and what is not good. I think that this inherently will make me a great father. 100% being a great father. I think that this will make me a great father and it makes me a great husband. Okay? And one thing in this, guys, is that there is multiple ways to be able to manifest. I mean, you guys know, like, I talk about manifestation and the law of attraction, and I get into all these different correlations of this is how you're supposed to manifest. This is what you're supposed to do. And a lot of people might be like, he's crazy. You know, he went from veganism to carnivore, so he must be crazy. He clearly doesn't have his mind on. Paul Saladino actually had brought this up. Great point, by the way. Paul Saladino, MD, he's an MD and medical doctor. And one thing about being a medical doctor is, you know, you have a lot of different patients coming to you. So have patience with us, all right? One big thing about being on carnivore, when you start as a vegan, it's actually known as a prerequisite to going carnivore because your intention is already set to not follow the standard American diet. I generally wouldn't follow anything American. Like, yes, we could be the proud Americans and be filled with pride and arrogance, and we can assume that our shit doesn't stink. Or we could just really admit that, like, you know, 80% of, you know, Americans are overweight or obese, and most people are lazy. We spend 8 hours on television. We don't go to the gym. We don't eat healthy. All we do is eat fried food or a mix of fried food and high sugar foods, okay, or soy, which is damaging to testosterone and estrogen. So there's so many different things like this that we can get into in so many different videos. But in this, you know, I'm talking about breaking free from the matrix. Breaking free from the matrix is obviously there is the spiritual where you eject your astral body. I want you to listen to this. If you're into spirituality, where you eject your astral body, your energy body, into a higher dimensional realm, because you're a multi-dimensional being. Remember when I was just saying you inherently are just born with tons of value. Okay, so there's the legal aspect of this where they sign your name and they have your name as an all caps name. They say you're a corporation, you're signing as a corporation, and you are going through different contractual you know, things with the government or with every time you sign something, that's how money is made. 100%. 100%. That is your value. You're the creditor. You're not the debtor. You are the creditor. You are the one that says there is any value to begin with. You are the one. Why do we go to somebody and say, what is your credibility? What is your credibility? We don't ever ask the gold, or we don't ever ask a dollar, or we don't ever ask an inanimate object, hey, what credibility can you bring? Because they're not a living solar being. They're not a soul being. So there's this aspect where, you know, there's the spirituality tied into it and then keeping it hidden from the people. Okay. And I also want you to understand that there's these types of things. If you have any questions about this, I'm not going to speak overly about this. But I do want to bring it known to the people who are inherently interested in this. If you have any interest in this, just message me privately and I can connect you with 2 or 3 people that I know, do these types of processes and can make it very easy for you. That you've been living a legal fiction your entire life, including myself, and that you are considered a dead man speaking. That's what a corporation means. And so, and it's also tied into the maritime admiralty law. So maritime admiralty. So there's this correlation and connection to it where you are a part of the sea or you're out at sea, but we are here on land. We are here, and that is a big thing too, is like, no, I'm a land being. I have land, I own land, and not only that, but when you go through this process, you are inherently rewarded your inheritance that that belongs to you already, that they are borrowing to do banking with everybody. And There's just a ton of this type of stuff. So I want you guys to understand that with this type of thing that's going on, there's also the spirituality, the spiritual awakening aspect of this. So in 2020, I'd been living with my parents. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a home. I didn't have anything. Okay. And obviously you guys know what happened in 2020. So with that, I decided, all right, I'm going to focus on my spirituality. I've studied this for the last 2.5 years, and I've seen a lot of different things that have built with this. I've studied a lot of, I know this sounds crazy, I studied a lot of artists and what they're saying, what they're speaking, and I decided to listen to them. I'm not the stupid idiots that just, have the same 5 topics, but I mean like people who talk about the system. They talk about breaking free from the matrix. They talk about breaking free from the system. The system is not your friend. Okay, Hobson, that's, and so different things like this intercorrelated with different artists that would speak about these, things that we're supposed to be breaking free from the system, from this matrix system. Now, one thing in the matrix that they talk about is people are not ready to be, awake. They're not ready to be waked up or woken up, okay? The reason why is because they're so inherently attached to the system. The system has told them what they are their whole entire life. Their system has told them, don't ever stand out. The system's always said, they reward you for your silence. They reward you for your they reward you when you're a doormat. They reward you when you bow down. They reward you when you are, scared. Okay? And then they talk down to you when you are free. They talk down to you when you have a voice. They talk down to you when you inspire freedom in other people. Spartacus. Yo, I am Spartacus. That's my name. Because I don't even know what the hell my name is. So I know I'm Spartacus. If you guys have ever seen that show, I am Spartacus, just so you know. You have to watch the last episode. I am Spartacus. Season 4. So this is where, we are all one being. We are all one being, and we are coming for truth. We are living here for truth. We are living here to help profoundly change this system, transform the system, and eradicate negativity from the system, where we move from 3D to 5D. Okay, so there's this spirituality aspect to this as well. So that first one was like the physical, even sort of the mental, I guess you could say, but the physical body. You use your mind, you use your brain, you use your heart, you use your physical body to do some of things like this. And obviously you have to learn some of these things. That's the big thing about like learning law. Why have you stopped studying? Why have you stopped studying? Because you just went to school and you're like, all right, I've studied what I need to study. It's like, but you're not happy. So clearly there's something that you need to know, because there are people out here who are, they're 1% in everything, including happiness, or they know how to hack happiness. Like people like David Goggins, he knows how to hack suffering to where like he can do things that people can't. But we can all do that. We just have to tap into that type of, happiness. We have to hack it, okay? Now, with the spiritual awakening, there's something that I did in 2020, which is called dark room enlightenment, dark room enlightenment therapy, dark room light therapy. Okay, so in this, I was listening to a podcast, London Real, Brian Rose, London Real. First of all, thank you for creating such a freedom platform. If you ever watch this, thank you, Brian Rose, for creating these things. In 2020, I've always been told you have to be this type of Christian. You have to be this type of way. You have to act this type of way. And for me, I always said, it's an interpersonal relationship inside of myself. That's what I've always believed, that's where God is I have a connection with how I feel I'm supposed to live. It's not necessarily someone else always telling me how to live. What do I mean by this? I'm not saying that like you go based off of your own morality and your own moral compass. Okay, I'm saying that God is inside of you. God speaks to you through your spiritual discernment, through your mentality, through your heart, okay? Through how you know you're going to act, through your psychology, through your philosophy, through your... And see, the big thing about this is the more that you learn, the more advanced you're going to become. And people are afraid of what they do not know. And so when I started listening to people, okay, if I was born in a different ethnicity, if I was born in a different race, if I was born in a different country, if I was born in a different town, if I was born in a different religion, if I was born in any of these different types of things, I would be on a different side than what I'm at now. So that means that what I'm at now does, I know this sounds crazy, does not matter. What matters is universal law. God's universal law. Universal law. The reason why I say this is because there is something, common law, okay, natural law, universal law, nature's laws. If we go based on that, there are some things that you can do and can't do. 100%. And that is what the correlation and the connection of what we really need to start to emulate within our law system, our legal system, and even just realizing I'm a free being. You can't tell me how to live. You don't, and you never will inherently control me. You don't, and you never will. Okay, and with this, guys, and you can't. Because being a free being inherently means being a free being. Okay, and so at this level, there's only one thing that's above, which is under God's law. Okay, and universal law. Something far greater than just a human ego and a human being. Now, darkroom enlightenment. I would listen to these CEOs, I listened to these monks, I listened to people who were far greater than me in their lives, in their purpose, in their passions, and it's the subtitle or the slogan for London Real, Brian Rose's London Real. His thing is interviewing people who were important, like important people you must hear, important people you need to hear from, stuff like that. So I would listen to these people, and instead of let my ego be like, all right, I don't agree with this person's religion, I don't agree with this person's color, I don't agree with this person's ethnicity, I don't agree with this person's gender, I just was like, I don't know shit, I'm just going to listen to what the person has to say, and I'm going to find the points that resonate, and then I'm going to try to learn. I'm going to openly learn why they believe in the things that don't resonate. There's a thing in intelligence. There is a big thing in intelligence that says like, it's easy to hear from someone who is talking the same way that you would talk, is saying the same things that you would say. It's really easy to agree with somebody who's agreeable. It's really hard to listen to somebody who's disagreeable to you, to whoever's listening to this. Now, I also want to talk about this, guys. This is the same thing that is biblical. It's easy to love people who love you. It's easy to love your friends. It's harder to love your enemies. That's why it's important to love people who persecute you. Love people who are your enemies. Love people who would talk down to you. Love people who would hurt you. Okay? And not love that they would try to hurt you. Love that they can't actually hurt you. But love that people would even try to send you bad energy. Love them regardless. And know that you are such a powerful being, you just transmute any negativity that somebody would try to put forth onto you. Now, one thing with this, guys, is I would go into darkroom. So I was listening to this gentleman named Montauk Chia. Okay, yeah, he's a man, and he talked about the Tao. Okay, Tao, Dao. Okay. Now, in this, the Tao, what he was talking about was you go into the dark until you cannot be dark anymore. Listen to that. You go into the dark until you cannot be dark anymore. And inherently, when you go in fasted. You don't eat or drink. That doesn't mean that you are just not doing one thing. Fasting means that you are not eating and not drinking, or just not eating, and you're on a water fast or a liquid fast. Okay, but that doesn't mean that, oh, I'm just cutting out this one thing. That is not fasting. That is elimination. Okay, that's just like, oh, I'm going to eliminate that one thing from my diet. I'm going to eliminate that one thing from my nutritional lifestyle. I don't like to say diet. I prefer nutritional lifestyle. It's better terminology, better verbology, better etymology. You know, you're able to understand and articulate what I'm saying. But diet, like, it's just a terrible word in like 4 different ways. So I would go into a dark room. It's called dark room enlightenment, where you go into a dark room for 12 days, 14 days. Some people do 40 days. Okay, and inherently you would go inside of a cave. During the time when Yeshua was living, you guys call him Jesus, or people have called him Jesus. I prefer Yeshua. This is the Hebrew, the Hebraic, the traditional way of saying Jesus. If you were to go up to Yeshua today and be like, hey, Jesus, he'd be like, who is that? You don't know my name. Remember, it's very important in the Bible that he's like, you don't even know me. You don't even know my name. You know, in biblically, it's important. The name is important. So are you going to call Yahweh, somebody else? You know, and Yeshua also is like Joshua. It's very similar to Joshua. Okay, so just so you guys know. And it is very important to get the name right. I want you to understand that. And then Christ means to be Christed, to be crowned, to be chrismed, Christed. Okay, I'm not going to freak anybody out saying this. This is actually a real anointing. Like, you can be anointed like this, and this is being one in Christ. Check it out. Check it out. The 66 books that you're talking about, which is the Bible, is about the law of assumption, the law of attraction. It's about the hero's journey. It's a book full of law. It's a book full of how to live and full of action. It's a book full of interpretation. It's not just you read it and don't do anything. It talks about astrology. It talks about kings and magicians, the 3 magi. It talks about these things. Okay, and then when you get into the book of it, you can actually see that everything's based in Hebrew and based in and then how is Hebrew created? Paleo-Hebrew was created from ancient Egypt, which is Africa. Ancient Egypt, known to the pharaohs, the pharaoh to Jedis. And you can also see the correlation that there was people who went bad. Jedis that went bad. Does that sound familiar? See, and I want you guys, people have not done enough study, and they've done too much of this, like, I already know. And I'm not saying that you don't know. Like, there is a lot of the thing where it's like, let's have faith. That is a very big thing, and belief. Like, we have belief. There has to be knowing and belief, knowledge and belief. There has to be the faith and the trust and the integrity and the compassion and the empathy. We've lacked a lot of these things. We don't fast. We don't meditate. We don't do breath work. We don't take care of our temples. We don't do these different types of things, but we are Christians. And we don't see how that could also be a negative way of evangelism. How that could be a negative evangelism. Because if we are not living it, then that is inherently being hypocritical, or that is inherently living opposite of what you should be living anyways. Why do we still drink on Fridays and Saturdays, and then on Sunday we say, oh, God, I'm so sorry for how drunk I was. I completely forgot what happened on Friday and Saturday because I repent. It's like, well, why don't you just not do that so then you don't have to repent on Sunday, and then you feel happy and compassionate and grateful on Sunday, and you have something to sing about. That's just a thought too. Dark room. You go into a dark room for 12 days. You go into a dark room for 14 days. You go into a dark room for a given period of time. You fast. And in this time, you actually will raise your vibration inside of your body. There is a scientific hormonal aspect that goes into this, where it goes from, melatonin. So you guys know melatonin. You guys are best friends with melatonin because you guys always be sleeping on me. Whew. Okay, so melatonin, serotonin. Serotonin is right now. So light is hitting the eyes. So light hit the eyes. The body signals hormonally in my pituitary gland and my pineal gland secrete hormones that are along the chain branches of serotonin. Okay? I might be like paraphrasing a little bit, but I want you guys to understand. I want you to understand that serotonin governs the light. Melatonin governs the dark. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when you have hair. Ugh. The hell? There we go. Sorry, guys. So one thing about serotonin is it governs the sun. Okay, it is the light. Okay, melatonin governs the dark. So in this, and what we're going to be talking about is that when you go into a dark room, you must realize that there is light inside of you. You have more cellular energy inside of you than a lightning bolt. This is connected to Percy Jackson, the lightning thief, because you are an anomaly. This is also based in the Matrix. You are an anomaly. You're an anomaly. You are not supposed to exist. You're like 1 in 400 trillion to exist, and that's just the minimum of existence. Now, also, if you have a 1% mindset or a 0.00001% mindset and nobody really knows the things that you know that you're bringing to the forefront, I would definitely say that you're 1 in 400 trillion plus 3 more zeros, whatever that is. You see what I'm saying? Like, you are an anomaly. You are not like your percentage to exist. And then not only that, but if you add in so many different correlations, you've done this before. You've done the mathematics before. You've done the electricity and energy before. Have you existed in your body specifically? I wouldn't say that based on the knowledge that I know. But I would say that you might have done, it's called solar transference. You guys can kind of get the reference. But it means that you can go from, so once I'm done living here and I live my purpose and I live fully and I do what I'm supposed to do, I go into the ether, I go into the 4D, the 5D, I astral project, okay? DMT is released in the brain, so it goes from melatonin, okay? Then it's going to go to NN-DMT, 5-MeO-DMT, or 5-MeO-DMT, NN-DMT, and that NN-DMT I'm able to astral project into hyperspace, which is you've heard in, being a Jedi or what, from Star Wars and stuff. I want you to understand that in these types of things, that when you astral project into, the 4D, the 5D, you are actually interconnected with a different plane of existence, planet. So there are different connections, different vibrational wavelengths, different wavelengths of frequency. There are living beings and living entities on every planet, including the sun. There are sun beings. There are Jupiter beings. There are Jupiter beings. There are Saturn beings. And they're all at different vibrational wavelengths. And the goal is to be at a very high vibrational wavelength, to continuously emit at a high frequency. You can also portal jump. You can leave this universe and go into another universe, which is the multiverse, which is teleporting, which is parallel world theory, which is multiple worlds theory, multiple universes theory. Okay, and it's actually panning out based in quantum physics. Quantum physics, you are a quantum being. You can quantum jump, you can quantum leap, you can go and teleport to other realms and other places. Okay, and this sounds so crazy outlandish, but like, there's so many studies on Christ, on Yeshua, able to be at every place at once on this earth, to be seen by everyone at once. That's the way that it would happen, is you could be in multiple bodies. You could be in multiple consciousness. Like, your consciousness can make up multiple bodies. So it's not just that one person could be in one being, one body, but one consciousness can be in 50 bodies. because it's all the same energy, and that consciousness keeps arising and growing and growing and growing to where you're eventually in not just 3D, but you're in 5D. These are also correlations of something that you guys must understand based in breaking free of the matrix. Now we're going to kind of conclude this. We'll leave this at 33 minutes. One thing about this as well, guys, is that when you are in the correlation of trying to break free from the matrix, it's already realizing, because you're in that point that I'm trying to break free from the matrix, you already have. Because people who are in the matrix don't know they're in the matrix. So when you're trying to break free from it, you already someone have. So give yourself the acknowledgement and ultimately emit the vibration and the feeling and the emotion of being grateful and thankful. Okay, being grateful that you are where you are. And what you could do is ultimately you break free from the legal fiction. I could teach you dark room. I could teach you to obviously run your own business. I could teach you to literally be your own individual sovereign being. Okay, your own individual sovereign living being. You have your own originality, your own authenticity, your own spiritual autonomy, your own living being autonomy. And this sounds crazy and outlandish to some people. You can have your own bank. You can live your own life. You can, there's so many correlations to this. If this is inspiring you, I would definitely say reach out to me. Okay. I'm only really going to do 1 or 2 videos about this. And then generally the rest is going to be private. So this will go on my course as well, but this will also go into the public. So this is just one of the videos that will stay public. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow everything. Share this with someone that you feel of value. Also, check out my course below. I have everything in that course. It's freaking amazing. Literally everything that you will ever need. Everything that you will ever need, okay? And as I go through this process of becoming a true living being and starting to sign as my living being name, my living man name, not a legal fiction on my all caps name, that correlation affects society. You are rewarded a certain way. If you're interested in darkroom, I would definitely say I resonate with that. Please reach out. This is leaving the matrix, the full physical realm in totality, which is what a lot of these artists talk about. There is a specific way to do this. There is a specific ritual and a specific routine and cultivation of how Yeshua has done it, how multiple people have done it. And it's ultimately connecting yourself back with Source, okay? And then Source emits through you. And a lot of people still have a purpose. See, that's the thing is it's not just leaving. It's not just leaving, okay? What it is it's uploading yourself to Source, so then Source emits fully inside of you. You eradicate your ego. You get rid of your ego in totality. And from getting rid of your ego in totality, then what you're doing is you have Source. You have full light and soul. You have God speaking 100% through you as I am that I am. See, and that's why he was crucified, because he was speaking as God through him, because he was uploaded to Source, which we are all capable of doing. He's an example of how we are all to live and how we're all to be what? Christ-like. We're to be just like Christ. So that's what we've been called to, and we are able to be these types of 5D beings. We are able to do these types of things. So you guys have a wonderful day. Peace, much love, namaste. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my course. Check out all my stores. Peace, much love, namaste.